Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to the reaction show. If you guys notice that anything looks a little bit different, I've noticed that I've got like a brighter screen right now. I switched cameras. I've switched to my 90D. You know why? It's cause the camera that I was using have these tiny batteries and they die so quickly. I've got like four of them, and this is how small they are. There you guys go. They're LPE 17 batteries and they die so slowly. I mean, they die so quickly. These batteries die so quickly. I've got four of them, and they just keep dying, and it gets so annoying. I get so annoyed. It goes on like the second bar, and like so quick, and then it goes to the third bar, and that's the last bar, and then it will die. So I got four of those. So I've switched to my 90D. This is a much more bigger battery. It's the LPE 6 battery. It's much more bigger. It's more professional. So this is like one of the best cameras. It's got like a 32 megapixel. It shoots 4K, all the good stuff. So yeah. I just want to tell you guys that I switched because this battery does last a lot longer. And it's just irritating. I always have to keep my batteries charged. And I'm like, you know what? Frick it. But welcome back to the reaction show. Got a new Apple video here for you guys. It talks about the new iOS 26, talks about the RC update, which I think was meant to come out today, but it's not out today. I think it's coming out tomorrow. Maybe it is out today. I don't know, but he's talking about the RC update, iOS 26 RC update, and then iOS 18.7 update. So this is like a whole bunch of stuff, and yeah, it's like 16 minutes long, so this is going to be a hell of a ride. You guys better grab popcorn and Coke and enjoy the video. This is Apple release updates. iPhone 17 Pro, iOS 18.7, and iOS 26 RC. That was a whole handful of stuff. Alright, let's get into this, you guys. This is a cool setup. Big camera. Let's get into it. Let's go.
Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this week there's a lot to talk about with the upcoming Apple event, iPhone 17, as well as what to expect for iOS updates and much more. This is your weekly Apple News update for the week of September 1st, 2025.
We're going to have a lot of ads on this video.
Before we talk about Apple News, there's an odd feature or basically something
I'm gonna have to edit a lot.
noticed for years in iOS. If we go into the clock, maybe go into alarms, go in and then try and set an alarm, you'll see that we can of course spin through the different times. One thing that was found this week is this is not sort of a rotational list that just repeats itself, but you can actually just keep scrolling and it eventually ends as though it's a long list overall.
What?
So let's keep scrolling, see how long this takes, but it looks like someone discovered it, and there you go. It just ends. So it doesn't actually spin over and over and over. It just comes to an end, and it looks like it was just one long list all along. So we don't know if this has been that way since iPhone 1 or iPhone 7 or anything else, but it looks like that's how it is now. Now, I happen to have an iPhone 1 or first generation or iPhone 2G.
Gosh,
let's go ahead and plug it in. We'll let it charge, and we'll check that list a little bit later in the video. A few weeks ago, Apple pushed a workaround for the blood oxygen sensor on Apple Watches where they weren't allowed after a certain date to have that feature enabled, and the workaround allowed it to measure on the watch and calculate on the iPhone. This was due to a lawsuit against them in the United States. However, the company Massimo last Wednesday or a couple Wednesdays ago, who won the original lawsuit, has once again filed a lawsuit against U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, who on August 1st said that Apple could import watches with blood oxygen in them again, and that's why we got the workaround. Massimo doesn't like the workaround, and so we'll see what happens. However, Apple really should just work this out so it's no longer an issue, but hopefully they don't have to remove it from the ones they just added it to. However, it should never be removed from the watches that have already been sold with it. So I wouldn't worry there, but if you had one where it's recently re-enabled, we could see more about this in the future. Now, Apple teased a new Beats earbud this week called Power Beats Fit in a YouTube video. You can see it on YouTube where it says Power Beats Fit from Beats, and those are coming soon. So it looks like it's just an updated version of Power Beats Fit for working out and everything
Power Beats Fit
that coming in fall 2025. So we may see this
around
going to
be another generation,
event, and that's what I would expect at this point. Now, if you watch Apple's MLS Season Pass, it's actually been greatly reduced this past week since we're later in the season now, and they've brought it down from $99 to $25 if you subscribe to TV Plus, or down to $29 if you don't. So if that's something you wanted to subscribe to, you'll see MLS on Apple TV Plus. You can do that now and save a little bit of money if you haven't been subscribing all along. CarPlay Ultra may be coming to a second vehicle soon, and a more affordable one. The Hyundai Ioniq 3 will soon get the option to run CarPlay Ultra if the user chooses. What it does is completely replace not just CarPlay on your screen, but also replaces it on your gauges as well. And I think that's a good way to go to give people the option to switch between what they like, as not everyone wants everything to look like Apple all the time. So either way, you'll be able to use regular CarPlay in it if you don't choose that. But in the Aston Martin, where you recently had the option to use that in the DBX, it completely replaces the entire gauges and makes it look generic, in my opinion, to sort of an Apple idea of design. That takes away from Aston Martin's heritage, and I would like the option to switch it back and forth and, of course, still use CarPlay. So that's something I think is a good solution, to give the option to switch back and forth. Now, an original iPod in a never opened box was recently auctioned off.
What?
You can see it here, never opened, and it went for $40,264, or $40,264. So much higher than
For
the
an
estimate
iPod.
of $20,000. That's a little crazy, but
Who remembers the
maybe we'll see that
iPod?
on
Oh my
YouTube sometime
gosh.
soon.
That was my first
Apple
Apple
last
device.
week brought self-service repair to Canada and genuine parts distribution. So if you've been wanting to maybe service your device yourself, you'll have the option to do that. I'll link this in the description below, but if you want to check it out, you can repair your device. It's not available for every device, but at least it's available now for iPhone, iPad, Mac laptop, Mac desktop, Apple displays, or Beats. So you have repair manuals there, as well as products you can buy yourself with self-service repair. Again, I'll link that in the description if you want to check it out. Apple years ago had an 11-inch MacBook Air. That's now considered obsolete according to Apple and their product list. You'll see it says obtaining service for your Apple product after an expired warranty. Also, Apple added a couple other devices to the obsolete or vintage list, and that's the 2017 MacBook Pro 13-inch and 15-inch models. So again, those are all considered obsolete now, and you can see all of the other ones here. So I'll link this in the description below if you want to see if it's obsolete.
All those are
You can still
obsolete.
get service for it, but Apple is no longer supporting it with operating systems or anything else. The Apple Pay Express mode is now available in Greater Manchester with added support for the B network, and this allows users in the Greater Manchester area to pay for a bus and tram without unlocking their iPhone or Apple Watch. So that can be added within the Wallet app and is available now. Let me know if you use that. I haven't seen that, as I'm not in an area where we have that kind of transit, but let me know how it works in the comments below. A new survey done by CellCell shows that almost 70% of current iPhone users are planning to upgrade to the new iPhone 17 models. However, the survey only included 2,000 people just within the United States, so I'm not sure if that many will actually upgrade. Most are probably waiting to see what Apple has to offer at the upcoming Apple event, so we'll have to see if they have some new changes other than the overall design that we have here. Now, as far as deals this week, well, there's quite a few since it's Labor Day in the United States. So MacBook Air M4 is up to $200 off. We have AirPods Pro discounts still at $169 or so. However, we should see an AirPods Pro 3 very soon. AirPods 4 are $89. AirTags are $69.99 for a 4-pack. Apple Pencil Pro is discounted, and much more. I'll link all of those discounts in the description below if you want to check them out, and hopefully you can get a great deal. But again, if you're looking for an iPhone, wait for the Apple event, as we're going to see a lot of new products soon.
Can't wait,
now, as far as releases,
we're not react to the whole video, but
iOS 18.6.1, along with others, which usually means an update is just around the corner. There's now evidence that iOS 18.7 could be releasing soon based off of the visitor log on MacRumors.com. So we typically see this. We could see maybe an RC this week with a final release
the
week of the release of iOS 26, or we could see something completely different. Many people have been asking me, should we expect an iOS 26 Beta 9? And probably not. We haven't seen that for many years, since 2018. So it's possible we could have one this week, but it's unlikely today, as today's a holiday in the United States.
I thought it was like 10.
If we do see it, it would be tomorrow or Wednesday. However, I don't think we'll have anything with iOS 26 until after the Apple event on Tuesday. Typically, we have iOS 26 RC, or the release candidate, on the day after the event, and that's usually when that takes place. And then, of course, based off of all of the information we have, with the Apple event being on the 9th,
I thought it was coming out this week.
to go live on the 12th, with the iPhone releasing to the public on the 19th. And then that usually means on the following Monday or Tuesday, the 15th or 16th, we'll have iOS 26 released to the public. So that's what I would expect for that. Now, you may have heard this already in the background. It looks like the iPhone is booting up. Let's see if we can go through that along.
First iPhone.
So let's go ahead and slide to unlock here.
Oh my gosh. I missed the slide to unlock.
Give it a second to load. We
And
have
the
some
sound
dead pixels at
effects.
the bottom here, but let's go ahead and maybe set an alarm, and let's see if we can scroll through this. So we'll just keep scrolling, see if it ends.
It's gonna end.
We'll keep going, see if it's just a list, or if it actually is just a circle. So we'll just keep going for a little while more here. And see if it ends. It doesn't look like it does so far. So again, we're still continuing.
Wow, look
here.
at that. It doesn't end.
And it's going nice and fast, but if it's
Is
a
it really
list,
not
it's a
gonna
longer
end?
list, that's for sure.
Fuck.
And again, we'll just keep going.
Add.
So far, I'm not sure that it's a list. It may just be circular, like the expectation was all
It's not gonna
along.
end.
So it could end. I'll just give it another minute or so. We'll see if we can continue, but it's definitely a longer list if it does continue. And again, it's just going and going. So I'm not convinced this is actually a list. If it is, it's a very, very long list. So let me know if you've
Steve
actually
Jobs
tried
knew what
this
he
or
was
anything
doing.
else. I'm not seeing any difference here, as it ends pretty quickly on the iPhone with iOS 26 and iOS 18. So I'm not seeing it here, though. But again, let me know if you've tried this maybe for 5 minutes or so. But it's not an obvious list like the iOS 18 and iOS 26 version. When it comes to the iPhone 17, it looks like a recent leak of the new clear case has come out by leaker Majin Buu for the iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max models. The odd thing here is it's a two-tone design. It's not entirely clear, and we have sort of a white area around where the Apple logo is. This could definitely hint at what we expect as far as the overall iPhone. This is an iPhone 17 Pro dummy unit, which gives you an idea of what to expect, but they're not always perfect as far as color and the way it looks in the end. So we could have sort of a cutout here, which would make the Apple logo centered and make more sense as far as the overall design. So that's what these cases hint at.
Yeah.
And also leaker Sonny Dixon showed another angle of the same case. So we could have a clear case. However, a clear case should really be clear all the way through, but maybe it looks better when it's on the phone itself. We also could see a different style case for the iPhone 17 Air with their new slim model. Maybe we'll see a bumper case according to Mark Gurman. It could help protect the overall device, and the last time we had bumper cases from Apple was around the iPhone 4 era, where we had some issues with the antenna, and this helped avoid those issues while you were holding the phone. So maybe we'll see that for the iPhone 17 Air, or maybe we won't. But either way, it looks like we could have some sort of new case designs, which would be welcome. The same leaker also leaked what appear to be liquid silicone cases for the iPhone 17. So we would have different color options, of course, to go over this that are silicone, but they'd be called liquid silicone this time, and also have the option for an attachable magnetic lanyard or crossbody strap. So that's something that could go over your shoulder or maybe around your wrist.
Yeah,
if
like the
different length
lanyard,
versions.
like the loop.
And that's what we could see as far as the cases this
Like
year.
the loop.
Of course, we do have new cases replacing
The
fine
iPod
woven, it
loop.
seems, with what Apple's calling tech woven or something along those lines. And I think that's a good move in order to get rid of that material, as I was never a big fan of the fine woven cases. But either way, I prefer leather as far as the cases go, but I don't think they're going to bring that back at this point. Another thing we're hearing is the new iPhone 17 models may not have a physical SIM card in more countries this year. In the USA, we haven't had a physical SIM card for a while, and while it's not that difficult to just transfer the SIM card, they're even making it easier in iOS 26 to do that. So if you go into your options here, under cellular, if you scroll to the bottom, you can even transfer it to a nearby Android phone. So you'll see we now have that option, which makes me think we'll see it in more countries.
That's cool.
There's a source that recently told Mac Rumors that retail employees at Apple authorized resellers in the EU must complete training related to iPhone eSIMs by September 5th. So it looks like more and more phones are going to eSIMs, and that's something I'm not a huge fan of, as it looks like there's still plenty of room for it. But either way, you can easily transfer it now with the tap of a button. Also, iPhone 17e is also said to be getting a redesign, but that will be for next year, and supposedly will have a dynamic island.
Can get a redesign?
So that's according to Digital Chat Station on Weibo. Now, the folding iPhone is about a year or so away at this point. It seems more and more people are interested in it. However, it's going to be a while until we see it. However, apparently the iPhone Fold will now have Touch ID instead of Face ID. This makes sense based on other foldables in the market, and it seemed like originally it was going to be under the display, but Ming-Chi Kuo today is actually saying it will be on the side. This makes a lot more sense, as things such as the Pixel Fold and Z Fold 7 have it built right into the Power Sleep Wake button. It makes it easy, just press it and Turn it on and it unlocks. It makes it much easier. Hopefully you won't have to slide up to unlock. You can just press it and unlock it. We'll have to wait and see. But that's
like
the way it
iPad.
works on other iPhones, so I would expect the same. Also, it's said to have 4 different cameras, one on the front, one on the inner display, and 2 on the back. Again, something we see that's familiar with things such as the Pixel Fold, so that makes a lot of sense.
Have 4 cameras,
it will also use Apple's next cellular modem, supposedly, called the C2, which would have 5G with millimeter wave, and it's also said to be testing in just 2 colors, black and white. So that would be sort of a return to what Apple did many years ago, but again, we're a year away, so we'll have to wait and see what they do with that. When it comes to future phones, well, there were some rumors this past week or so that Apple could be removing the camera control button from iPhones. However, a reliable leaker countered that, saying that Apple is not removing the button, but rather trying to reduce costs and refine the design of the current control. According to Instant Digital on Weibo, Apple is working on removing the capacitive touch capability of the button and instead using pressure to determine what you're doing with it. That would achieve sort of the same result. Maybe you won't be able to slide back and forth, as maybe many people don't use that, but if done right, we'll never know the difference, and we could see an improvement in the way it works as well. A couple of reports this past week also said that iPhone 18 will not launch in the fall like normal, but rather in early 2027, according to ET News in South Korea. Instead, Apple would only release high-end iPhones in the fall instead, with the lower-tier phones, or the regular iPhones, releasing maybe in the early part of the year. Apple is also looking to add tandem OLED displays to their iPhone, which would add for greater brightness. It's what we have on the iPad, and this looks like it will be a couple years, until 2028 or so, according to dealsite.co.kr.
Yeah, tandem OLED.
They said LG is working to produce the future displays for Apple, and that's when they're expected to release to the public. When it comes to AirPods, well, Apple is planning to release an update to AirPods Pro with new AirPods Pro earbuds, maybe AirPods Pro 3 or something else, according to Mark Gurman.
AirPods.
We expect built-in heart rate monitors similar to Powerbeats Pro 2, maybe some other features as well. And also, leaker Majin Buu said the new AirPods Pro 3 will have a capacitive pairing button similar to the AirPods 4 case, but in a smaller case as well. I actually really like the physical button. It makes it easy to know where it is, but it does work with the capacitive button as well, so looks like we could see some updates there. Apple is also planning to release more services in the coming years, and according to Mark Gurman, Apple is planning a new health app service, so Health Plus possibly, and it would offer an AI-based coach to assist with medical suggestions along with nutrition planning. We heard about something similar some time ago, and so it seems like we could expect this sometime around iOS 26.4. So maybe next year, that's usually around the time of new emoji and more, and maybe it will go along with something new with the Apple Watch that we're expecting as well. So we do expect some updates to Apple Watch, maybe some new sensors, possibly blood pressure monitoring, or maybe something completely unexpected. Either way, we can expect some new models in just about a week or so. Now, it's possible we could see some updated iPads, maybe an iPad Pro, but that would probably be at a different event, maybe in October, along with maybe M5 Max. But again, we'll have to wait and see if Apple's doing that this year or maybe next year. Either way, I would expect some sort of other event, possibly in October or November. We've seen both before as well. So we've had the iPhone event in September, events in October and November. So we could have some more products coming out before the end of the year. So I'm looking forward to the new iPhones. Let me know if you're planning to pick one up, though, in the comments below. And, of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron.
All right, that's it. Those are all the updates. He didn't even really talk about the RC as much. All right, it is what it is. It is what it is. Those are all the updates. Ugh. Got a lot of stuff coming out, guys. We got a lot of Apple products coming out. It's exciting. It's exciting news. I think I'm going to do a reaction video of the September 19th event. Not the whole video, because it's like an hour and a half, but I'll find one that's good, reasonable length to react to for you guys. So we're just going to have to... I'll probably not watch the whole video. I'll probably wait until someone makes a video about it, and then I'll react to it, so I won't, like, spoil myself, so we can spoil it together, you know, we can get spoiled together. Drop a like, you guys, if you guys did enjoy this reaction video. That was all the news of, all the Apple stuff. Subscribe, turn your post notification bell on to be notified once I do upload the next reaction, and stay tuned. Stay tuned, you guys. Stay tuned. See you guys in my next reaction video. That was good.